on his computer. Welcome to the Javier Mendez podcast. We've got Javier Mendez and his friend Jacob in Las Vegas. Obviously, they have the better studio of the two of us. I just have this fake background, but it all works. Um, Looks like you guys get nice weather. So this is about the inside scoop of the Jake Paul fight, pretty much. I mean, you guys both knew. I mean, Hav was kind of hinting to me, not telling me any real serious stuff, and you guys were talking, but apparently Jacob, you know a lot about Jake Paul, or you've had workings with him or related to him somehow in his fight
Yeah,
game.
yeah. So I've been in the boxing business for a really long time. One of my fighters that I've trained, rated number one in the world for many years, is actually training Jake. He was initially a sparring partner. His name's BJ Flores. Was a cruiserweight, a heavyweight. Was a 2004 Olympic or 2000 what was it? Eight Olympic gold medal favorite for the heavyweight division. Turned pro with main events. Had a really great career actually. Fought for three world titles. I think his record ended up being like 34-3. Just a phenomenal guy. Strong roots in boxing. Was trained by his father, Ken Adams, who was a 1988, 1984 Olympic head coach. Myself. So we understood the boxing systems that was rooted from very deep in history, with many great coaches. So as BJ transitioned out of boxing, um, himself as a fighter, in the end of his career, he got brought in to spar with Jake, by some of Jake's management team. So he became a sparring partner. And through that, while he was sparring with Jake, he's like, look, these are some of the things you can do to improve. I think Jake was with Shane Mosley at the time up in Big Bear. BJ got the call to come in and spar, and they just ended up hitting it off. And BJ, when he spars with guys, he has a tendency to tell them what they're doing wrong, and he didn't realize like what a technical guy he was and how good of a coach he actually was. So he was approached by Jake to work with him in one of his fights. I believe it was I don't know if it was the Give fight, or I think it might have been the Give fight, but he kind of just touched on him a little bit. And then after that fight, because Jake loved it so much what he was doing, he asked him if he'd be willing to come on full time as a trainer, and just spend every day with him, showing him everything that he knew. And honestly, I'll tell you right now, BJ is a pedigree of boxing, and his technical ability and the ability he has to articulate how to do things in the ring, versus like a lot of coaches are like, get in there, come, go harder, punch harder, and they're not really giving you that technical breakdown. Like Hov's a master, Yoda mind too. It's like, when you get back, why am I punching? Why did I step to the right? If I jab to your right eye, you're going to move into my right hand. If I jab into your left eye, you're going to move into my hook. If you move to my, just every little pinpointed strategic movement, he is that guy and he's that coach. So Jake really appreciated it. That's how I come into the picture, because I trained BJ Flores for over a decade. Been through every country, every world title, Danny Green, Beirut Shumanov, Tony Bellew in Liverpool. I mean, we've promoted shows in his hometowns. There's nothing we haven't done in boxing. So we're able to bring that to the table. BJ brought me in to take care of Jake's hands, take care of his cuts, and just kind of be an overall advisor to, their strategies and the boxing, because I understand the system and been in it so long. So I've been in Jake's camp for his last two fights. I actually worked the corner with BJ in his fight with Nate Robinson. So we're pretty deep in the roots with this fight coming up. I mean, his training camp's out in Miami. We're spending a lot of time and working on a lot of things. So I'm happy to be here with you guys.
That's exciting. It's so, what's interesting, just like starting the podcast with Hav. Hav's the coach. Now in Europe, the coach is a big deal, and especially in Russia. In the States,
Yes.
and I always joke with Hav. I said, where the coaches end up in the States a lot of times? You saw Rocky One, the old man in the dirty old apartment in Philadelphia. Hey, Rocky, the old guy. That's where that guy's. But now, people have access because of social media, because it used to be down to the time clip of sports to give the coach, like, oh, that guy was there for 13 seconds on TV. Nobody saw you. You'd have to find yourself, right? So now people want to know. They're hearing from people like you. This is the real story the roots of where the Jake Paul comes from. And you've known Hob for a long time too, right? I mean, you guys have.
Yeah.
How long have you guys known each other for?
Well, a couple years, but it seems like we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
You know, we met because he has a fighter that I'm working with, Blagoy Ivanov, who's fighting on the late March of the UFC, and Jacob was his trainer also. So that's how I met Jacob. We hit it off right off the bat, perfect. Like we've known each other forever, and ever since we've been really close since that first meeting. He used to go to my favorite place, Flames, right across from the gym, and we chat there. And the next thing you know, it's like we've known each other forever. One thing leads to another, and next thing you know, we're in good hands. But you know, Jacob just said something that was very interesting to me that I knew nothing about, and the fact that BJ Flores was sparring with Jake Paul. Okay, now think about this. You got a world-class boxer. He's sparring Jake Paul? What is he playing with Jake Paul? Is he playing with Jake Paul or is he sparring?
I can tell you this, like BJ is sparring with Jake Paul. He was in the beginning. Now he's not. Now BJ's bringing in sparring partners. And I'll tell you this, there's some guys in there that are real box. You know, Jake's not just sitting back taking this whole fight game lightly. He really respects the boxing world, and he has a warrior mentality. Honestly, like I've never seen anything like it. People think that you know, he's a YouTuber, he's this, he's that, and say what you want about his videos and all that, but I know the real Jake, the real nice person, the good-hearted kid, the one who would give his shirt off his back for anybody, and he's really taking this seriously. So, I mean, not to give away too much of the bag, but you know, he's going to be ready for April 17th with Askren. And I think that Askren, you know, with his real nonchalant attitude that he has, and that, oh, Jake's really not a good fighter and all this stuff, you're going to really see what that's all about April 17th. And I have a feeling that it's going to be a real rude awakening for him. And it's going to be a real shock to the entire boxing community.
So you think that basically that Jake Paul's strategy when Ben's going to come in there and dirty box him and whatnot, you think he got an answer to that? I mean, because that's what you're going to have to be looking for, right? It's not – Ben Askren is not an easy person to hit with one shot and knock out. So if you can't knock him out, let's say past the third or fourth round, you guys are prepared for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ben's an awkward guy. He's got a pedigree of competitive sports. He's a wrestler. He's an Olympian, all that sort of stuff. But – this isn't his lane. Boxing is not what he does. Now, if we're going into a wrestling match or something else, I would say, okay, now I see where he's coming from. But your mentality is only going to get you so far when you're getting punched in the head. I mean, you're coming off a vicious knockout, coming off hip surgery. What's going to happen when the pins that were put together in your hip are getting cracked by a body right in your hip? I mean, I don't know how he's going to hold up. I don't think he could fight anybody, honestly, right now, not much less Jake Paul, who's been training really, really hard. But I think he's frail. I think, you know, kudos to him for taking the fight. He seems like a really good promoter, and, you know, much respect to him. He did great things in those organizations. He fought and won titles. And, you know, I have nothing but respect for him. But he's not respecting boxing by saying, oh, I just watched a couple video clips and this guy can't fight. Because, you know, there's a lot more to it than what you think.
Yes, so it's true.
Oh, that's the thing. I mean, Hav wouldn't even be talking about this if he didn't respect what Jake Paul's ability is, and he's watched him. And Hav started with boxing himself. So, and then he went into the kickboxing. So when Javier looks at another fighter, he tells me, no. And you don't have to go in depth with him. The algorithm has circled, it sucked in the whole element of this guy's abilities, right? So that's what you get. It's exciting to see what it's like that he's actually working with real boxers like you guys. And, you know, he's not just taking kids off the street, other kids from YouTube that never boxed, and you're my sparring partner. You know, that would be, you know.
Yeah. Well, the biggest obstacle, I think, is Ben is not taking Jake Paul serious, I think, and that's a big mistake. And if he listens to this podcast, maybe he will, but maybe it's too late also.
Right.
Well, we'll see. But
No, I mean,
the bottom line is, you know, I took him serious when that little clip I saw him with Robinson, right when he knocked him out. I was like, holy crap, this guy's got some speed, power. He's athletic. And then to top it off, he's been boxing for 3 years. And now hearing Jacob talk, I'm more impressed by the guy. So I'm like, you know, but, you know, I'm also impressed with Ben Askren. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say Ben Askren is an easy fight. Ben Askren is no easy for anybody because this is a professional, world-class athlete. And yeah, he's coming into a boxing arena, but this is still a world-class athlete who's used to winning. So my feeling is still the same. You know, Jake Paul, he needs to weather the storm, or if he can take Ben out early, which is possible because he has the power, but that's the unknown. It's the unknown. The bottom line is this is a very, very interesting fight. I think a lot of people are going to tune in because you got the two unknowns. You got a great athlete that does multiple sports and has been at the world's best, and then you got another YouTuber guy who happens to be a great athlete himself, but just happens to not have as much experience in the fight world. But he's been boxing for 3 years with great eyes behind him. I mean, PJ Flores is no joke. He's no joke as a coach. I watched him. I watched how technical he is, and he knows what he's doing. So he's got a great coach, and obviously you hear Jacob here, another great coach. So you got two great coaches that know what they're up against. So this is going to be an interesting fight. I'm telling you, people are going to love it.
Let me ask Kyle a question real quick, and you guys chime in. You know, as a coach, I really don't want anyone to know how, you know, like Jake's work. I mean, if it was up to me, I would tell everybody Jake's sipping pina coladas on the beaches of Miami right now, you know, because I don't like to lead up any, you know, strategies or give anybody any clues. I was asking my fighter. And as far as I know, maybe Jake is, you know, not training. Maybe he's sitting down playing video games right now and doesn't even care about the fight. You saw the video he posted in Puerto Rico. He's playing around. He's not even, you know, he doesn't even want to take the Askren fight serious. So my question to you is, if you have Khabib and you have a strategy, how much of that strategy do you give out? You know, and do you want people to know that, you know, obviously everyone knows he's the greatest fighter of all time, but how much do you want to give out?
I will give out just enough for them to be interested in watching, but I won't give up the whole thing. No, I will give up enough for someone to go, there's a chance. So in other words, I don't want, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm giving just enough on both sides. I'm giving enough on one side. I'm favoring one, obviously, but I'm giving just enough for people to go, well, there's that big what if. So there's a big what if on Ben's side. And the probable side is on Jake's side, but there's no guarantee on the probable side. So people are going to want to see the train wreck if that's what it's going to be, or they're going to see the masterpiece if that's what it's going to be. It's going to be one of those. I don't know which one. Mm-hmm. I just know it's one that people are going to tune into.
I got, like, I would really make this interesting to say that I would put money up, at least a minimum of like 10 grand, maybe even 20 grand, that Ben Askren is not going to make it to the end of this fight.
Okay, well, you're not going to bet me because I'm not taking that.
Well, here's a question for both you guys. Both you guys, boxing, kickboxing background, you know, art of the fist. Now, I've talked to other, you know, senseis or martial artists or other people in boxing, and they say that the knockout is not a given. Not everybody has it. Like, I see certain boxers, they're like, they'll take you with multiple, you know, small punches building into wearing you down to build you down, and finally maybe finish you at the end when your hands are just dropped. And then there's the clubbers. There's a guy like Jake Paul knocked a guy out. Not everybody has a knockout in their hand, right? Isn't that true?
That's correct. You got the Jake Paul's the clubber and Ben Askren is the other. So that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Ben Askren doesn't have a history of knockouts in any of his fights.
No. He probably has a decent punch, but it's not a clubber one punch knockout. Jake has that.
Right. And, you know, there's, you know, aside from just a knockout, there's a lot of things that lead up to it, right? You know, you want to start out jabbing, feeling your opponent out. You want to see where he's going to be, you know, how he's going to be pressuring you. You want to, if he does pressure you, you want to be prepared to, you know, do certain things, go to the body, start getting his hands to come down. You know, there's a lot of strategies in boxing that I think go way beyond, you know, just knockouts. The knockouts will come if you do the right technical things to get it there. And, you know, I know Ben's going to be in there, and I know his mind is very strong. But it's concrete strong too, but when you start chipping away at it with a jackhammer, it's going to crack and it's going to break. And there's just nothing you can do about it. These gloves hurt. There's a small coverage area on these gloves that are going to hit you so many times in the head that you're not going to be able to just keep taking them, especially coming off of other knockouts. You don't recover from that. You don't recover from hip surgery and get into a fight in 3, 4, 5 months. So that's the reason why I respect Ben so much, is because he's a dog. He's like going to get in there, even though he has a bad hip, he has whatever. And whether it's for the clout or for the money, he took the fight. So I can't wait for it.
I think a lot of guys would have wanted that fight, right? I mean,
well,
a lot of guys at your gym, Hob, would have been like, yeah, please, sir, whether they would have won or lost, whether you win or lose, right?
But one big difference, Ben Askren isn't thinking he's going to lose. He's not going in there to lose. He's got the mindset of a champion. He's going in there to win, buddy. He's going in there to win. And there's nothing you could say or do that's going to change that. You could say, oh, you're going to get knocked out. You're a bum. You can't box. He's going to say, oh, yeah. He doesn't need to box, because that's his idea. Isn't to box, is to go in there and get him tired, rough him up a little bit, dirty box with him, and to drown him in the later rounds. That's his plan. That's his plan. And he's going in there with the attitude, I can take your best shots, and maybe he can, maybe he can't. I don't know. That's why it's interesting. We want to watch. I don't know myself what's going to happen. I'm thinking Jake is going to do what he wants, but man, I could be totally shocked, and all of a sudden Ben comes in and dominates past the 4th or 5th round. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen Jake personally, so I can't talk about, me watching this guy. I can only watch what I've seen on video, and I'm super impressed with him. Super impressed. He has video out there on Instagram. Those that don't believe me, go look at his Instagram page, and he's got a little knockout video where he's knocking people out with 18-ounce gloves, 16-ounce gloves with headgear. I'm sorry, but I've been in the boxing gym a long time. You don't get that many victims in that short period of time. You may get 2 or 3 guys you might have knocked out, but not as many as that guy has. And he's knocking these fools out pretty bad. So this Jake Paul's a serious dude. But also, I got to say, Ben Askren is a dog too, and he's going to be there.
The entertainment factor and what makes this interesting to me, as let's just say somebody that would watch the fight, is the 2 uncertainties. Like if you're watching an MMA fight or a boxer against a boxer, they kind of have similar rounds, but you have a guy coming from YouTube who didn't build his whole pedigree in, let's say, the WBC or something, and Ben didn't build his fight career in that world, but he had a fighting career. So if you have a young, healthy guy that's got a couple of wins, who's training with super high elite people like you guys, and then you have another guy that's coming, it's a different game. So it's like shark versus alligator. Who's going to win? Well, the shark's faster, well, the alligators get the job, but if the shark can come around, right? That's it's like, analogy. And I think that sells the entertainment factor, and that makes the fans want to tune in, right?
That's why they should tune in, because it's like a shark versus an alligator. You can say whatever you want, but that's still a shark, and that's still an alligator. So don't go telling me that alligator can't damage you, and don't tell me that shark can't damage you. So you got a perfect analogy there, because that's what this is. This isn't no lamb versus a crocodile. This is a crocodile and a shark. We should then nickname that.
Yeah, exactly. And keep in mind this, Jake shouldn't, according to the popular belief, shouldn't win this fight. For one, he's fighting a guy who was 18-0 in MMA before, whatever his record was before he lost. He's an Olympian. He's the most elite athlete in the entire world. Okay? This guy fought in the UFC against some of the best men on the planet, right? So that categorizes him as one of the toughest, most insane humans, most dangerous humans to step in a ring or a cage or a combative sport. Jake's not supposed to win this fight, right? Like he's a YouTuber. He's only got 2 fights. This guy's going to get killed by Ben Askren. He's going to get annihilated. And that's what everybody, that's what's supposed to happen, right? I mean, that's the consensus.
Consensus would be that, but the people that understand the fight game and are watching, are paying attention, I'm telling you.
But if for some reason this YouTuber, this kid making videos who can't really fight and who just do, if for some reason he ends up winning this fight, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen then. What are the people going to say?
Well, I mean, before
bring on Floyd.
Bring up Floyd. Before, well, maybe they, may he rest in peace. They might have called for Kimbo. That's how it was.
Yeah.
That was the first YouTube star, man. That was the first.
Yeah, Kimbo. Kimbo was a great start.
That was a beautiful, legit. But what's nicer
he
about
made
Jake?
it legit for all these guys. Kimbo did.
Oh, he did. And what's nice is to see someone like Jake, who's a handsome young guy that doesn't look like he's an imposing bully, to be the guy that's actually throwing hands, to taking it seriously, to showing great fun and comics and laugh and humor and stuff on his YouTube channel, right?
If you look at him and his brother, they're great marketers, man. Look at I never realized it. I looked at their YouTube videos. These guys both of them are genius. They're genius. These guys are genius at what they're doing. They know how to market. They know how to sell themselves. And one of them can actually fight.
Yeah,
I'll let you figure which one that is.
I think Jake's IQ is very high in everything he does, in business, sports. I think he if you talk to him, he can explain to you a little bit more about his background in a lot of stuff. He's very, very athletic, and I'm not really worried about the people that want to fight Jake. I think they all need to be really, truly worried about him. And I tell Jake that all the time. I'm like, Jake, we're not worried about nobody. They need to be worried about us, because that's the mentality that we have. So I'm just excited, and I'm so eager to just let the cat out of the bag and tell you what I really think about how good Jake is. But I'm just gonna leave it at that and let people see for themselves on April 17th.
How much attention, until this podcast, how has it been being around that world? I mean, I've been around Javier's world, which is like the Habib world. And we go overseas and we're like, whoa, everybody's there. We're releasing a film on some of that really soon that everybody needs to tune in for. But it's like, and now you're in a world like that. And Jake by himself, I think he's got more following than the UFC on his own YouTube channel.
Yeah, 20-something million, I think.
Yeah, Jake is super popular, man. He's got fans everywhere we go. People recognize him. They're like, oh, he's really, really a large character. And you know what? He's very, very friendly with everybody. He gives everybody time. He's got a great, great group of guys over there that, kind of help him run his whole organization. And honestly, that whole world, to answer to your question, it's not any different from a normal fight camp that I've been in. They're not. BJ runs a tight ship. He's been in hundreds of fight camps. I think he had 100 and some amateur fights. He had almost 40 pro fights, and we run a tight ship. Up in the morning, eating right, doing following a great regimen. And other than all the fun and games that I would like to portray and say, it's this whole world of YouTubing and making content and videos. It's a very strong regimen over there.
So you guys can move your location. See, Hav can't do that. Hav is AKA. So if Habib's in town, the fans show up. It's like the Beatles. They show up outside the door. And we're like, you need help to your car? And Habib loves his fans. And luckily, it's not over the top. There's been some huge crowds. But, I mean, I can only imagine if somebody with his 20 million, 25 million plus YouTube subscribers, if they knew, if you guys like, hey, tweet, hey, we're gonna be over here. I mean, I'm laughing because I know what that would be like. You guys would have trouble getting home. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. When we went out the other day, Jake went to a gym where Andre Durrell and his brother Anthony Durrell trained. And when Jake came in, there was another gal there named Clarissa Shields who called Jake out actually, and was like, oh, I'll fight Jake and I'll kick his butt. Well, there wasn't really much dialogue. They showed Jake a lot of respect to his face. So I think there's a lot of people out there that just don't want to see, like Andre Durrell and Anthony Durrell is like, hey, don't disrespect boxing. We're just concerned about that. So when people see that Jake's actually working hard, taking his career seriously, and, he treats people with respect and he respects the game, I think that is going a long ways on the inside of boxing. Because it's just a matter of time before people really know what his skill level is.
And keep in mind, Clarissa Shields, she's planning her MMA debut with the PFL, but she's making it quote like a boxer going into the MMA but she's not actually going in as a boxer. She's coming in as an MMA fighter. She's learning everything from the kicking to the jiu-jitsu to the wrestling. She's doing it the right way. So expect Clarissa Shields to be very successful in her PFL debut. So it's the same thing that Jake Paul's doing. He's being very respectful of boxing. He's doing it like it's supposed to be done. And whereas Ben Askren, and I hope he's listening to this, he needs to respect the fact that this guy's respecting him because he's respecting boxing. And as tough as Ben is, he needs to come in with a certain group of people that are going to be there consistently for him, and he will once he understands what he's in for. Because all the people are going to be doing it. Serious,
yeah, Jake's not taking it serious.
No, Jake's not taking it serious. He's only boxing with all these boxing guys and Clarissa Shields being in the gym where they're at. That's not a serious person. So yeah, and he's allowed to train there, by the way.
He's not. He's going to get. From popular belief, he's going to get annihilated. He's fighting a world-class athlete. He's not taking it serious. So.
Well, listen, this is the most validation, I think, of anything that's come out. It may not get the million views that like something on his channel or somebody else, but anybody that's listening, any scout, anybody who's a bettor or, who's checking out the sports book and they listen to this, they're going to go, okay, now that changes the odds a little bit. Now I'm hearing from two high-level professional coaches, world champion coaches sitting here talking about him, giving him validation. I mean, what could be more dynamic than that?
Even Leandro Lopez clothing is giving him validation too. Leandro's saying, "Go on, Jake."
Hav loves the boxing game. Hav, I mean, how's it feel to be around all that? You love that, man.
I love the fight game, period. But I love the boxing game. But I fell in love with the MMA because it's more like the chess game. Boxing is a sweet science because it's so technical, and MMA is a chess game. So you have to be good at both. If you don't respect boxing, you shouldn't be boxing. Right. Boxing needs to be respected. It is an art, man. It is an art. It's a great art, beautiful art, and there's so many variations to the boxing. Like what Jacob said, you jab this way, making it look this way, but you're actually going that way. So it's like leading the horse to the water, but to realize that there's no water, so there's a lot of things you do there that are tricky, and then you're thinking, what the hell is he talking about? Lead a horse to the water, but there's no water. Well, if you knew boxing, you'd understand what I'm saying.
Well, the
thing is, going to go, I know boxing, but I don't understand what he's saying.
You've had the inside scoop the whole time, but you didn't let the cat out of the bag. So you guys get more trust with each other. Hav didn't jump on the podcast. Guess what I know?
He gave me $1,000 to gamble because he made a bet.
Yeah, tell me about that. What, did you guys have some bets on the fight the other day, or how did that?
No, I didn't bet. He just goes, Hav, who do you think? What do you think, Kevin Gastelum? And I said, Kev, I said, I don't know, but Kev, it's not a bad bet. I said, Kevin Gastelum's not a bad bet. And Usman, I go, of course, I want Usman because I know Usman. And I felt Usman, I wanted him to win, and I felt he would win. And man, what a jab. What a freaking jab, huh? What a jab.
I was going to ask you, you got there before me. I was going to ask you the same thing.
He's a mastermind, man. He's a mastermind. That guy's got a great fight IQ. I'm so glad he won. He's a great, humble champion. And, I think people respect him a lot more than he realizes it. He is probably going to go down as one of the greatest welterweights of all time.
What did you think about that jab, Jacob?
Yeah, it's interesting because whenever MMA started, and being in the boxing business, we used to always say, wow, they don't really know, throw punches. There's no jabs. There's no setup. But it's a completely different sport, right? And as it's evolved, and Hav could tell you, as people got more well-rounded and put more striking into their repertoires, the jabs are just insane. That jab from Usman reminded me of George St. Pierre, who had a phenomenal jab. Phenomenal jab. And it was just so nice to see it. And you see how effective it is, when you actually use it. And it was a fun fight to watch.
But I think it was a GSP 2.0 jab, personally.
Yeah, maybe.
2.0 jab, because GSP had that great jab and he followed with the great takedown of this and that. This guy, he did left, he did right, he did both jabs from both sides. Super effective. Super effective.
They had knockdown power. That was
my gosh, because
that was
straight
unique.
to the point.
He hurt him with those jabs.
And that was probably Trevor Whitman that got him dialed in on those jabs, because that's his style. That's Trevor's style. So I say all the credit goes to him on perfecting that jab. This is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think Trevor Whitman honed in on that jab of his and made it exceptional.
There was a part in the fight where Trevor Whitman says, you could hear the corner camera. He's like, "You're a champ because you got jabs." That's what he said before he went.
I didn't hear that, but that's pretty
before
cool.
He went in the second round. So that's pretty wild.
I thought in boxing, like, there's nothing better than a good jab. You know, that sets up your whole life. You know, up and down, feinting it, taunting it. When you have a good one, you know, I like to say BJ, one of my fighters, the one that is training Jake, had literally one of the best jabs in boxing that I'd ever seen. You know, you go back to Larry Holmes, all these great champions, they all had good jabs. Muhammad Ali, this guy would pepper you with the jab every time you turned around, you know. So I just thought that was really neat to see in MMA. That sweet science of boxing is really coming out in a lot of fighters in MMA. They're so well-rounded now. These guys are the most dangerous humans in the face of the earth.
Hands down.
Hands down. I told Hob today, like, to beat all these guys, literally are like phenomenal humans. You know, they're warriors, and much respect to that jab last night, Usman.
So that's the thing. It's like, I see Hob. He has some of the world's greatest grapplers delivered right out of the box, 2.0, 3.0, 5.0, new level grappling. But the boxing, and you'll hear Habib say this, Mexican boxing. Yeah. That's what he would be watching some guy go at it in the sparring cage at AKA, and he looks at Hob, he's like, Mexican boxing? He's like, yeah, because they respect the warriors of the Mexican fighters and their great boxing pedigree. So they're getting some of that with Hob. It makes a beautiful fusion. It does build world champions for sure. You know,
the best in the world. I always tell Hob, I go, to me, you're the best coach in the world. You know, you're a mastermind. I worked with him up in his camps. Like, I took, Bulgoy up there for his, I forget what fight it was, but he was just phenomenal. The way he structures his camp, the way he, all the fighters respect him, and just the knowledge he has. Like, he's forgotten more than most people know. So it's all about your team. It's all about your coaches, honestly. I mean, they don't get in there with you, but they definitely have a big, big instrumental part of your success.
I'll say one last thing on that, because Habib, he said something that I've brought up, I think, before in another podcast, but for you to hear it this time too. He says, even though I'm the world champion, my coach is still the boss. He's like, you need to have a boss if you're fighting, because if you get outside of your head and you're trying to tell your coach how to coach you, you lose perspective on the focus that you're going to need to get to that next level and defend that belt.
That just shows you how well Habib learned, because I taught him that in 2012. Uh-oh.
What happened? We went off the air. You're still there in audio. I hear you. There you are.
Yeah, someone called. But that basically, I told Habib that very same thing 2012 about, you need to have somebody. Someone's got to coach you. Someone's got to be there to tell you these things, because you can't lead yourself. I tried that myself, trying to lead myself at one point in my career, and man, it's a wreck. We as a fighter cannot do things for ourselves. It's impossible to do the best, because we're not thinking outside the box. We're thinking inside the box. And sometimes there's more things outside the box than there is in the box. So we have to have someone be able to put all that together. And it doesn't have to be a great coach. It just has to be someone that understands it, and you'll do better than doing it by yourself, guaranteed. You've seen too many fighters do that. How many times they go switch camps, they do this, they do that, change their routine, thinking that there's going to be success somewhere else, where the real success was look in that mirror. What did you do wrong? Correct it. Talk to your coach. Hopefully he'll listen to you, and then make the changes. Not, I changed a new camp because of this and that. No, consistency and owning up to what you need to do, being real with yourself. And that's one of the things too many fighters don't do. And that's why when I get fighters that have lost and they want to come to me, they go, I want to come to you, man. I just want to turn off. I don't want nothing to do with them, because they're missing the boat, because they're thinking that they need to change camps to change. No, sometimes on rare occasions, yes. But most of the time, the problem is not the camp. The problem is them. And they need to correct themselves.
Is that so? I was going to ask you, like, it's like they're looking for more yes men. Oh, tell me how I want to hear it. Tell me what I want to hear for my ego. Tell me how great I am. That guy was telling me I suck. I'm going to go to this coach. This coach is going to tell me, you're the best, champ. And he goes, he steps in the ring, he gets smashed. I'm sure. Does this happen in boxing as well, Jacob?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'll tell you one thing I can tell you, about Jake is that he's one of the most coachable guys I have ever coached or ever been around watching get coached. He's like a sponge. He's very adaptive, and he listens very, very well. So there's a big difference between the coaches, you have before that are just saying, all right, get in there, go faster, harder. And you don't know why they're saying that. You don't know, but coaches that actually tell you, okay, step right, jab down, feint, come with the overhand, and teach you how to do all that stuff and think like a boxer or think like a fighter. Those are the team, like Cobb said, those are the fighters that are going to go a long way. It's not the ones that think they can do everything on their own. They have all the skills. The coaching is really, really dictates what you do in that ring.
That's pretty awesome. So any final thoughts, guys? You've really showed something. I think this is going to be unique for the viewers.
If people don't find this podcast very unique, then they don't really understand fighting. This one here, and in all honesty, out of all the podcasts I've ever done with you, this one has the most, I believe, the most information that's correct, and it gets you thinking. And if you're not thinking about everything that's been said here and understand what's been going on, then you're not really a good analysis of boxing, because this is real as it gets right here.
Yeah, you guys gave total validation to Jake. I want to thank you guys for coming on, and I hope everybody tunes into Hobbs' new video coming out. We just dropped a little preview. And is there anywhere they can find you, Jacob? Are you on social media anywhere?
No, I'm not too active in any of that stuff.
You work with the biggest, but you're silent. That's cool, man. I mean, I'm
in the cut. I'm in the back. I'm the guy behind the scenes, just happy to see everybody doing good.
Yeah, and remember, tell everybody, drop in fan questions for Scott Coker. We're gonna coax them into coming in and doing one with me, because he was my karate instructor, taekwondo instructor before I got into fighting, and he was actually my promoter, Scott Coker. So for those of you guys that want to hear questions from Bellator's president, yes, drop the line. And also Manscaped, we need promotion. Manscaped, if you're listening to this, we need money. We have a good podcast.
I got a beard to shave. What?
Yeah. Well, it's Manscaped down below, buddy.
Yeah, listen to this. I wanted to say, too, one last thing that everybody is going to understand. I would never tell anybody to waste money or buy a fight I didn't think was worth it, or don't waste your time paying attention to this. This is something that you guys are going to want to see. This is something you want to tune into. And I'm so proud, honestly, to be a part of it. And watch this whole thing evolve into what it's evolved to. So tune in. You're not going to be sorry. This is going to be a great display of boxing and sports.
And strategy. Because if Ben Askren has the right strategy, he could do it. I'm thinking he's not going to be able to do it. But, hey, he's a great athlete. He could definitely prove me wrong. But I'm favoring Jake on this one. I'm favoring him, and especially if Ben can go past the fourth round, that's when the deep waters come in, and that's when it could be dangerous. But let's see what happens. I'm very interested to see. I'm slightly favoring Jake, but I'm not 100% because I haven't seen Jake. But again, you can't underestimate Ben Askren. No way, that'd be foolish.
Yeah, never underestimate a fighter, but I really don't think he's going to make it all the way through the end of the rounds.